Hello, everybody, and welcome to Wednesday webinar. My name is Katie. I'm from olalschools.com, and we have Kerry from OptimumSA. She can give a quick brief who she is and how she fits in with us.
I almost thought you forgot about my name. Hello, Katie. Hello, everybody. Hope you're all well. I'm Kerry from OptimumSA, curriculum provider. And we're here today to talk about the lovely tests and exams that are coming up for our learners next week, Thursday. So they'll be emailed on Tuesday next week to everybody. But it's just the tips to prepare for tests and exams. Okay, I say tests and exams because certain subjects it's just a test in term 2, and other subjects it's the big dreaded exams that everybody starts freaking out about, which you really shouldn't. Okay, so I'm going to do the whole fancy share screen thing, so bear with me. There we go. I made it with the big thumbs up one showing, so I know which one it is. Okay, can you see it?
There we go. There's emoji.
Yes, you know me, always have to have emoji. I think they're so freaking cute, so I can't help myself. I was like, I mustn't put an emoji today, and what do? I put 2. So, but anyway, we've spoken before that going into tests and exam, well, anything for that matter, that we have to have a positive attitude. So I thought we'd do the whole thumbs up story, like we got this, we can do this. Okay, so we go all the way back to page 1 because it's 2 pages. So dreadful, so much to say in such little time. But anywho, let's get right to it. So preparing for tests and exams, if you've managed to complete the work by the end of the term and you're already in your revision week, it is the ideal time to talk about doing your revision to write next week. So for our parents where, oh no, they're not ready to write, remember, do not stress. When the learner is ready to write, you just contact your like Olal Schools, and they'll email the papers, or our private clients. It's fine. We're emailing them on Tuesday. You just keep them one side until the learner is ready to write. Okay, so there's no way written in stone that they have to write on Thursday next week. But for those that are ready to write and are ready to start with the first paper next week, Thursday, here are some tips for going into the papers, okay, for doing revision, to study, to prepare for the papers. Okay, so the very first one we've got there, number 1, is give yourself enough time to study. Now, in a previous webinar, Katie and I discussed that the lastminute.com business does not work. Okay, so trying to cram 6 months worth of work into 2 or 3 hours in the evening and maybe before the paper in the morning, you're not doing yourself any justice whatsoever. You're possibly going to confuse yourself. You're possibly going to just scan through the things that you think is important, and Murphy's Law, you didn't study, I don't know, life sciences, the eyeball, and guess what? The eyeball is then asked in the question paper. So everything is equally important. Okay, so don't, no, we're not going to study this, but we're going to study that. So, and my mum used to tell me, Kerry, what you didn't know last night and didn't know this morning, you're not going to know in the next 2 minutes before the paper. So there's no point in trying to wake up at 2, 3 in the morning to try and study for your paper that's going to start at 9. It's not going to work. Okay, so don't leave it to last minute. So 9 times out of 10, like OptimumSA does, is a month before the exams, we send out the exam timetable so that the learner can see when the papers are scheduled for and what terms they cover. So term 2 is easy because they cover term 1 and term 2 content. But our term 4 exams for some of the subjects, they only cover term 3 and term 4 work. And it says that on our timetable. Okay, so it gives you enough time to see, okay, I've got 4 weeks till my exams, I've got 2 weeks to complete my work, and then I've got 2 weeks to study. So give yourself enough time to study. Right. We've spoken. Number 2, Katie, we mentioned in a previous webinar, I think 2 or 3, 4 webinars back, where we had to organize your space for getting school ready to do your lessons. The same thing is organize your space for when you're going to study. Make sure you've got your highlighters, make sure you've got your books that you need to use to study with. If you're going to make notes and be all arts and crafts and do flowers and I don't know, whatever, when you do pretty pictures, doodling, they call it, then have that all already. Not, okay, now I need to go get my book. Oh, wait, now I need to get my exam pad. Have everything organized on your workspace. All right. When we are talking about completing content, about also another 2-3 webinars ago, we talked about doing mind maps and we talked about summaries. All right. Go and get those flow charts here by number 3. I'll see if I can highlight it. I don't know. Probably not. There we go. Here by number 3, use flow charts and diagrams. So the mind maps and the summaries that you used when you were completing your content, go and pull it out. It mustn't gather dust on the shelf. Get it out. Use that to study, because remember, you've put that into your language. So you understand it better. It sticks to you in your head better. Pull that out so that it can remind you of what those topics and units are. Okay. You can also make, if you see, oh, no, I didn't do this summary about photosynthesis, then you can do that, or do your flow chart, or do your diagram, whatever you want to call it. All right. The next tip is, when you're studying, use old papers. Okay. Now, in our textbooks that our learners use, they've got revision exercises at the end of every 2nd or 3rd chapter, which is a condensed version of what they've covered in their books. Okay. Use that as a revision, because it's almost like exam questions. Use that to see how much you can recall from that term. In some of our books, they've got exemplar exams inside the actual book, the learner book, the textbook. So don't, oh no, I don't have to do that. Attempt it so that you can see and practice different types of questions. So use old papers, okay? Practice them. It's not, at the end of the day, it's all practice for you to keep the work in your head. Number 5, explain your answers. So say, for example, you've just done your revision exercise for unit 1, 2, and 3 for maths, okay? Ask mom or dad to go through it and then sit and explain your answers to them. So while you're explaining it, you can hear what you're saying and you can gather all your thoughts together and make sure you've put it into the right order, especially for subjects like natural sciences, when you have to write a paragraph on how to extract, I don't know, starch from whatever, and put that all into a paragraph and explain it to mom and dad, your brothers, your sisters, your cousins, I don't know, a voice note to your friend, and explain to them how starch is extracted from whatever. So you are then getting into the practice of putting each step into the correct order so that you can get the full marks that you deserve. Okay. This number 6 is organized study groups. Now, if you've been in school for, say, up until grade 7 and you're still in contact with your friends and you know they're also starting with their tests and exams, ask if they want to join together to all study maths, for example, or all study natural sciences or whatever. So make a study group with people that is of your age, covering the same subjects as you, so that you can all join together and study together and help each other on where each other gets stuck. Okay, because you'll probably find that one friend is better at one section and the other friend is better at another, and you're all helping each other. Okay, it's not a visit to chat time and do TikTok videos. It is study time. So remember, you've allocated time to study, so use it. For learners, that's with Olal Schools, you know, do a whole study group session like you do with a whole creative arts thing after hours. It's all about just joining together if you're able to. Okay, you wanted to say something, Katie?
No, I was just gonna say to you now, like what you said, like with all our schools, now that we have our tests and our exams coming up in the afternoons, we get our kids together and they do like a revision session.
You see,
we turn
so
it
that
into
is
fun.
a study group.
So,
yeah.
Like it's open doors to, like we said last week, on our webinar, that if a child wants to, they can come and join us and see what it's like, and they can actually interact because they're on the same CAP syllabus. So
yes,
it will be nice for them to just explore and see what fits them. Like maybe later we'll come to crossing that different study patterns for different children.
yes.
So
and then the next one is number 7, which is take regular breaks. Now, we're not saying find every excuse and start procrastinating. I'm not a morning person, so my brain doesn't switch on until 10. So I wouldn't study early in the morning because nothing would go in. You should know what type of person you are. So if you're a morning person, have your breakfast and study in the morning and then take your lunch break. Okay. If you're an evening person, do whatever you got to do with your chores and whatever else, and then have something good to eat and then get settled in by your desk because you're a night owl, and, you know, tackle the studying and making your summaries and flow charts and all sorts of things. If you are studying throughout the day, don't try and study for 4, 5, 6 hours straight, because everything is going to just start looking like words and you won't know what to do with yourself. So nothing will actually go in. So you need to take a break, stretch, take a walk around the house, go get a bit of sun outside for some vitamin D, get some fresh air, and then tackle the next unit. So when you're planning your study time, break it up into manageable amounts. Don't just try and sit there and do a flat out 4, 6 hour run when you don't even do that when it comes to your schoolwork anyway. So there's no way you can study 6 hours straight, whereas during the week when you're doing your schoolwork, you have 2 hours, you take a break, another 2 hours, take a break, and so on. It's the same thing with your studying. Okay. Next one is snack on brain food. Okay, don't go and take your break and have a huge bowl of pasta, because when you're full, your eyes want to close. So, you know, have a snack where, be the door, where you've got to take, you know, snack on a packet of peanuts. If you're allergic to nuts, have a yogurt or have some blueberries or I don't know, whatever. But just have a small snack just to get your sugar level up, to have that slight break, and then go on again. Okay. And then number 9 is drink plenty of water. So I didn't know this, but I went on to good old Google, and apparently your brain is about 70% made up of water. So there's a lot of swishing in a lot of people's brains. But the main thing is you need to stay hydrated. So make sure, don't drink enough water that you've got to go for a bathroom break because you are procrastinating. We don't want that. No. But just keep hydrated. Don't go for a 6-hour study session and you haven't had a cup of tea or a cool drink. Pardon?
Drinking water throughout your studying, or it will also prevent you from getting headaches.
Yes, that is true. I hate water. It tastes dreadful. But it is true. It is true. We've got to start. I have a cup of tea. So that's my water, just with some tea. But yes, stay hydrated, but don't use it to procrastinate. Okay. No procrastinating. This is important business. All right. So our next one is, now you've done your studying for the week and you need to go into the exam. Katie likes to mention this, always go into something with a positive attitude. So don't go into the paper, oh, I'm going to fail. You haven't even looked at it, and it's probably the easiest paper you've ever done. So don't go into the paper with a negative attitude, go in with a positive attitude. I can do this, okay? Every exam is allocated with reading time. So if you've got an exam that is a nice, easy one, let's say it's an hour long, okay? Your mom or your dad needs to sit you down at 8:45 to read through your paper for 15 minutes. Not start, read it. And you don't just read it by just looking at the words. You need to understand what you are reading. So you're given 15 minutes before the time of the paper starts. The paper then starts at 9, and then you write till 10, and that's when you can get up and go from your desk. Okay, so use that reading time. If you've read through it and you read through it in 2 minutes, just read through it again and read till you understand what each question is asking you. Okay. I'm sure there'll be a question or 2 or 3, gosh, I don't hope it's more than 3, that you don't want to answer because you don't know the answer, but attempt the question. All our markers want our learners to pass, so they try and look for marks. Okay, so, but if you haven't written anything and you've left it blank, unless you use invisible ink that nobody lets us know of, you need to at least attempt the question. For all you know, you're going to get 1 mark for it. 1 mark is better than no marks. So attempt every single question. All right. Number 4, mark allocation. If you're doing maths and it's for 5 marks, the answer is not just for 5 marks. It's all the steps to get to the answer. All right. If you see that you need to write an essay about, I don't know, the World War, whatever, it's history, don't just do 1 paragraph. You need to do an essay. It's, you know, it's 20 marks. So give me 20 facts. It's also probably you're going to get marked on the format of the essay. So make sure you've got your introduction, your body, and your conclusion. So all these things are vitally important. And if you cut corners, you're going to throw away easy marks. So don't. So look at the mark allocation. If it says give 5 facts on, I don't know, air pollution, give the 5 facts, not just 5 words, 5 facts. Okay. That brings us to number 5, which is follow question instructions. Many learners throw away marks because it will say tabulate the differences between, I don't know, respiration and whatever else. And they just go and write the answer down. They've lost marks because they didn't put it in a table form. So if they have given you a specific instruction, there is a reason that they've given that instruction, because you are going to be marked on it. So don't just, you know, if the summary says summarize this paragraph in bullet point form, it means in, you know, 7 sentences, not with the either a 1 or a little bullet. Don't go and write a summary in a paragraph form, because you're going to get penalized, and it's such an easy mark to throw away. So don't. You need, you know, if you got you got to get 40% and you didn't do that and you missed 1 mark, that means you got 39. You did not pass that paper. It's that 1 mark that you threw away. So don't throw away marks. Lastly, like we spoke about with completing tasks, read through your answers. Don't just finish the paper and hand it over to the teacher or to mum or to dad. You might have gone through your questions and saw, okay, I'm going to come back to question 5, and then you go through all the other questions. If you don't read through your paper, you didn't see that question 5 again, which means you didn't attempt it, which means you just threw away 2 marks, 10 marks. Gosh, we hope not 10. Please don't miss out a 10-mark question, you know. So read through your answers. It's not difficult. Read through your answers. And lastly, you've got time allocation, which means if a paper has been allocated for an hour to complete, if you've completed your questions thoroughly and answered them the way they should have been, you should take an hour to complete that paper. But careful, dear, you finished that paper in 20 minutes. I'll start crying. But you've probably left stuff out. So there's a reason why that paper is 2 hours long. Creative writing is 2 hours long because you have to do your mind map, you have to do your rough draft, and then you have to write it neatly. So it takes 2 hours to write a 2-page essay and another item. So there's a reason why they've been allocated for that amount of time. Okay, so don't rush. It's not a race.
And like, even if you like you mentioned, like even if it's an hour and you finish in 20 minutes and you do get the smarty pants that do finish a little bit earlier, even though you might have missed out something, you might have not, but use that extra time, that extra couple minutes that you have left over to read through everything again, even if you want to read it through twice to make sure that you've covered it.
Yes.
And submit it. You still have that extra time. Don't just turn over your page and submit and think that you're happy with it, where you could go back and just correct 1 or 2 things that you
exactly.
It could just be punctuation or a spelling error. It is still something that you still have time to correct.
Yes, and I mean, like your creative writing, oops, I spelled this word wrong, you did Tipex, and then your Tipex was drying, and then you close the paper and hand it off. I'm still missing that word that you Tipexed out. And you know, it's a simple thing like that.
And there's 3 things that I've actually enjoyed all of these tips that you have given us. Okay. But my favorite one was number 5, for preparing for tests and exams. You can actually turn it into a game and make it fun. I don't know if you guys, you and followers may be watching Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? Oh, yes. Where you get 50-50, phone a friend, and where you take away like 2 answers and you have 2 left.
Yes, yes.
Mom and dad can always WhatsApp call granny or grandpa or their aunt or uncle. Test your parents' knowledge. Let your children test your knowledge, and you'll actually see how much you've actually forgotten over the last 20 years or I don't know, 10 years or something. You actually realize, hold on, my child's reminding me back to my childhood, and you can test each other's knowledge, and even if you want to, you can play it in a group with friends.
Yes, in your study group, yes.
And then also, you mentioned about cram studying. Even if you've studied over a period of time, I would just like to remind our parents, to remind their children, try not open that textbook. If you're writing maths on that day or NS, don't open that textbook on that morning. No. Because one word can put you off your whole exam and or your test, and you can go completely
confuse you. Yes, yes.
No, I definitely that can be a major block.
Yes. And then my last one, which I've made in red, is if you've covered your work thoroughly throughout the term, then you will be fine. So if you made sure that you covered your work, you did your activities, you did everything that you needed to, you don't need to freak out because exams are next week. Okay. If you cut corners, you know very well yourself if you covered your work thoroughly enough. So telling you what to study in the paper, or they call it a scope, or telling you, no, just study this section and just study that section, it's going to do you more harm in the long run than just studying your work properly and covering your content thoroughly. Okay. Because in your grade 12 year for your finals, nobody can tell you what is in the paper. No one, not anybody can, because Department of Education or SACA sets those papers. Okay. And then you're so used to getting a breakdown from grade 4 all the way to including grade 11. And then all of a sudden in grade 12, you say, sorry, buddy, you need to study the book. And you're going to panic and freak out. So forget about that. Cover your work thoroughly from the get-go. Do not cut corners, because that one section that you thought was not important, True's Nannies or Murphy's Law, whichever one you want to call it, is going to be asked inside the question paper. And it always happens. So if you just cover your work from the get-go, you will not be like this man in the picture that is sweating while he's writing his paper. Okay. So cover your work thoroughly, please. And positive attitude, go into it. I got this. I can do this. Okay. Are we all good?
We're all good on that. Yeah, so we basically have covered a lot of things that can help our students prepare for the exams. They should be on track by now, because exams are out next week. But this is just things to make sure that they are definitely ready, and I'm sure they are. I'd just like to thank everybody for our viewers for joining us today. Come and join us at olalschools.com, and we'll help you and assist you preparing for your tests and your exams. And thank you, Kerry, again for a lovely webinar, and I love the emojis.
It's a pleasure. Well, thank you for having us. I hope it wasn't too much of a drill. Tests and exams are important, but they're not the be all and end all. Like we learned last week with the mini practicals, some subjects, the projects carry far more weight than a test and exam. But the main thing is, if you've covered your work thoroughly and you've crossed all the T's and dotted all the I's, you're going to be fine. But don't try and cram everything the night before. So hope it helps.
No, it definitely will.
Awesome.
So guys, remember, you've got this. Don't cram, study, and thumbs up. And we will see you next week, Wednesday, same place, same time, 2:30, Wednesday webinar. Leave a comment at the bottom if you have any questions or anything that you'd like to know that myself that can help you with, or Kerry from OptimumSA. Like and share, and we'll get back to you as soon as possible. Thank you, guys.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Have a good week.
Yes, you too. Bye.
Bye-bye for now.